Good afternoon, Ms. Perez. My name is Ms. Ramirez, and I am the administrator for this elementary. Today we will be going over the individualized education program plan for Juan Jr. We know that he's a second grader, a male Hispanic of 8 years old, and his birth date is February 14, 2011. We also know that he speaks Spanish at home, and this is the reason why we have a translator with us today so that she can communicate effectively what we are discussing so that you can know everything. Today we have here
Mrs. Herrera, and I'm the special education teacher.
We also have
Ms. Ceballos, and I'm the speech language diagnostician.
And
my name is Angelita Costilla, and I'll be the general education teacher for Juan and also the contact teacher.
So, Ms. Perez, we will follow Today we'll be conducting the annual ARD plan review and dismissal meeting for Juan Perez Jr. as I mentioned earlier. We will follow this ARD agenda to conduct the meeting today, and you will receive a printed copy of the entire ARD document and deliberations. If you have any questions as we go through the agenda, please be sure to let us know. And have you received a copy of the procedure set courts this school year already? No. Okay, we will also give you that. According to the state and federal law, all information concerning a student with disabilities is confidential and may not be discussed with anyone except those who have legitimate education interest in the student, Juan. All information discussed during this ARD meeting will be kept confidential. So now, in order to facilitate a collaborative environment, participants will conduct themselves in a courteous manner. This expectation must be followed in order to work together to develop an appropriate education plan for Juan Jr. Ms. Ceballos, can you please discuss the eligibility?
Okay, the student is eligible for the program, and he has an acquired brain injury, and the secondary would be he's deaf or hard of hearing.
All right. Ms. Herrera, can you please present the levels of education performance?
Okay, I will start by addressing Juan's present level of academic achievement regarding English language arts. Juan is currently functioning below his chronological age in brain-based skills, which is his cognitive ability. He has trouble in reading comprehension, and when we discuss the concept of morphosyntax in class, which is using prefixes and suffixes in simple sentences, he is unable to identify nouns and verbs, and although more flexibility is given to him, he still has trouble grasping basic knowledge. The next level I will address is Juan's present level of academic achievement in math. Juan seems to have deficit in number sense, which is the ability to count accurately. He is able to count the numbers up to 30 with assistance. However, he has trouble identifying numbers, counting accurately, and performing basic operations. I will now address his present level of academic achievement and his social skills. Juan's pragmatic and behavioral skills are poor in comparison to the rest of the class. His hearing impairment makes it a little difficult for him to express himself, since his vocabulary and acquisition of word knowledge is below average.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Herrera. Now, Ms. Perez, do you have any additional information to contribute or any questions you have? No. All right, so now we will continue. We have talked about Juan's strengths and needs, and now, Ms. Costilla, will you please review the critical needs areas and the goals and objectives you propose to address those?
Yes, first of all, in his English language arts skill area, his first annual goal, we have Juan will improve his ability to identify and comprehend the different parts of speech. His second annual goal in this area, Juan will improve his reading fluency, and he will be able to read at least 80 words per minute during fluency assessment. And his third annual goal in this area, Juan will be given opportunity and will be able to help other students understand the reading and vocabulary. In his math area, We also have 3 goals, and his first annual goal will be one will increase his number count proficiency and accomplish to resolve basic operation using an abacus with 85% accuracy over 5 attempts. And on his second annual goal, one will be able to identify numbers in correct sequence as well as to the spoken words numbers and can be identified with special symbols. And his third annual goal, one will place value systems base 10 of numbers and therefore be able to add and subtract 1 and 2 digit operations. And his short-term objectives to reach his annual goals for his in his social skills, one will be able to develop social language to communicate with fellow students. In his short-term objectives, we will have intermittent identifying speech scenarios, and he will also need to grasp speech and modifying sentences and narratives with 85% accuracy. He will also need to commit to 15 to 20 minutes to enhance his reading skills and vocabulary words with 85% accuracy. We will have him expand through the use of unknown words in text. In addition to his English language arts area, his short-term goals he will need to grasp speech and reading comprehension given the opportunity, and also be engaged to creative and to think critically to develop unfinished stories without any. And his last, for his long-term goal, he will publish his first book. Will participate in the annual Publish His First Book contest of the school district. In the math areas, he will have 3 short-term goals where he would go into self-contained classroom every math class during 2 weeks to practice number counting with the use of the abacus. His second short-term objective, one's parents will need to help him use the abacus to further increase his counting ability knowledge. And his third term objective will be able to solve math basic problems with 100% accuracy involving adding and subtracting of 2-digit numbers. An additional objective for one in his math area will be the use of an electronic device, and one will have that opportunity to play interactive and educational games involve number recognition with 100% accuracy after 5 tries. And on his last session of short-term objectives for his math skill areas, he will be able to use on a day-to-day objects to understand the value of numbers with 80% accuracy after 5 attempts. And the last short-term objective for math is the 10 base with 95% accuracy for 5 trials with no assistance at all. And in his final skill area of social skills, we have 2 primary short-term objectives so that way he can develop his social skills, social language skills. One will be prepared or included into groups for him to socialize more with the help of his sign language aid for 10 minutes a day, excuse me. And another objective was his peers will develop formal academic language after being exposed to different vocabulary and reading genres.
All right, thank you, Ms. Costilla. Now we will review the options of the plan for Juan Jr. So we will review the academic accommodations that need to be made. Accommodations, remember, are not intended to be a list of items that might help, but instead be unique to students and determined effective based on data. We will now review the state and district-wide assessments for Juan's grade level and his participation level and needed accommodations.
The determination of the least restrictive environment is a process of achieving a balance. The ultimate goal is to provide just the amount of support necessary so the child can receive the goals, objectives identified in his or her IEP. So
Does the data indicate the need of extended year services?
I don't feel there's a need for that, but we can readdress that at the end of the year.
All right. Now, Ms. Ceballos, please read the deliberations of the meeting for the committee.
Okay, so we discussed 3 skill areas: English, language arts, math, and social skills. We proposed annual goals for these areas and short-term objectives. We also discussed the special education services in the mainstream classroom and modified the participation in the state and district assessments.
Okay, so the special education and related services that we want for Juan to have are that Juan will be able to participate in district assessments, although his participation will be modified in comparison to his classmates. In addition, his interpreter will be by his side to assist in oral language. So all of his education will be on a mainstream class with his aide, which is a sign language aide, or also known as the interpreter. For math, he will be in a self-contained classroom 5 hours a week for an overall of 2 weeks. Do you agree with this, Ms. Ceballos?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Does anybody have any additional information to add or questions?
I will provide a copy of the IEP and also make schedule reports to yourself, Ms. Bettis, and your in order to progress during parent conferences, and also the normal report cards that the all students take home in the school.
Yes, Ms. Perez, you will be advised throughout the academic year and let know of any information of the progress of your son, Juan Jr. So now, can we please all sign that we acknowledge what we've discussed today? Ms. Herrera? Ms. Ceballos? Ms. Perez, can you please sign now? Ms. Perez, we will give you copies of everything we've discussed today. Thank you for assisting with us. And if you have any other questions to ask or information to add, please let us know as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.